What's your view on this issue, burning issue?
The thing that worries me most is how rapidly the violence is escalating. The violence that Israel is showing is completely disproportionate as far as I'm concerned. The fact that we are seeing so many civilians being murdered, so many more having to flee their country, this has got to stop. I mean, our government really needs to do something to stop this and create a ceasefire, because it's untenable, the level of violence.
Is there anything Ed Miliband, opposition leader, he's a Labour Party leader as well, what he's doing for this cause?
I'm very proud that Ed Miliband has come out incredibly strongly against what Israel is doing, but also looking for a ceasefire between both sides. He's been out to meet Obama, and he's working with Obama to try and get negotiations back on the table, because that's what we need. We need negotiations fast to stop this and create a ceasefire. Sheffield student, so 25 years ago, and the frustration, the anger, the disgust that I felt then, I still feel that now, and I don't think we've moved on. I think if anything we've actually gone backwards. For me, this is fundamentally a humanitarian human rights issue. I know that both sides have very strong arguments, but for me, I'm seeing people in Gaza being slaughtered and not having the support that I think any human being should have in that situation, and that appalls me. I have been very frustrated at the way the government is responding to this, is not responding to this. I think it's quite significant that William Hague actually was starting to talk about a ceasefire, and then suddenly he's no longer in his job, and we've got an extreme right-wing Tory who's now in his job. I find that very difficult. I was trying to ask a question last week in Prime Minister's Questions, just to say, you know, what is David Cameron actually doing to get a ceasefire and to get a two-state solution, and I wasn't allowed to ask my question. I have been, the documents that I've sent round to you, I have been doing what I can, so I've written to the Prime Minister. I'm asking questions of both the Foreign Office and the DFID, the International International Development Fund, thank you, to see exactly what we are doing to help. But fundamentally for me, the negotiation that Egypt is meant to have tried to broker, I don't understand how you can have a negotiation when you only talk to one party and you present the other party with, this is what we're doing. That makes no sense to me whatsoever. I am trying to be hopeful about the fact that John Kerry is there now, because for me, to be quite honest, unless America very, very clearly says this is not acceptable and actually puts some trading sanctions into Israel, I can't see this ending. Israel's allegiance isn't to Europe. I think it's right that we're making a lot of noise because America is hearing it and will actually do something. But for Israel, I don't think they care how much noise we make because we're not their main trading partner. Again, the thing I'm hopeful for is that Obama is in his last term, so he's actually got nothing to lose. So I hope that he is looking to do something very significant and seriously try and broker a resolution and a long-term solution. I completely agree. The two-state solution seems to be the only viable one, but if there are other options that come forward that stop the slaughtering that's going on, then, you know, as long as both sides are around the table and negotiate that, then, you know, whatever it takes to stabilise this, I think we need to do. I don't know if you know, I sent round a speech that Ed Miliband, a statement that Ed Miliband put out, but he also had meetings with Obama on Monday about this. So I really believe that as much as Labour, being an opposition party, can put pressure on, we're putting as much pressure on as we can. I've also been, well, grateful for, I'm not sure if you emailed me, but a lot of people have emailed me and have given me evidence, they've given me their advice, they've given me their opinions, and I'm using that to try and, you know, write to the right people. So a lot of your thoughts went in my letter to the Prime Minister, because whilst this is a personally, this is something that I'm passionate about. I'm very mindful that my role is to represent you and to give you a voice, and as loud a voice as I can do with that.
Palestinians. We invited a Palestinian group from Sheffield to come along to do a speak. They're actually in South Yorkshire, but they're based in Sheffield, and they support Palestinian kids, young children, toys, reading books. So every time they drop a bomb, they go to school, there's no material, so then we have to rebuy it again. For these young people that I've seen photographs of those. So one of it were outlining the political issues. Two was around what we can do as people who are concerned, clearly. Three, one thing I need to point out absolutely clear: nobody in this room, nobody on the demonstrations, nobody at the meeting on Sunday, no meeting that I ever attended, and neither would I allow to happen. They were completely they were not anti-Semitic meetings. They were not against Israel as a state to exist in that sense. It was always solely and purely about the disproportionate response and the ongoing, continuous, disproportionate aggression, not just in the conflict, but actually in between. And I've been out there, I've been to the West Bank, I've seen it, I've had guns pointed to my head, I've seen and listened to the stories of the young kids in refugee centres, and I've spoken to family members who've got people locked up. And nobody's calling here for any arms. Nobody called, and it's very difficult in a public meeting to give people a microphone, but actually for them to say something which is appropriate, strategic, the truth, without actually breaking any law. Without actually breaking breaking the law. Say something which is going to be all correct, like you've got missiles hidden there, and we try and avoid the conversation about the rockets. They shouldn't be firing the rockets. Everybody here agrees they shouldn't be firing rockets. But actually, they're more like fireworks landing in fields, make a bit of a ditch. I've not, to this day, seen the level of any destruction, any loss of life. If it's 1 or whether it's 500 is wrong. But actually, this is not a competition. This is actually about what we need to do to stop things on a long-term issue. Everybody here wants a two-state solution. Everybody here wants a viable Palestinian state, but you're not going to get a viable Palestinian state if the Israelis keep on building settlements, which is going to divide East Jerusalem from the West Bank, which is taking land from the Palestinians inside the West Bank and actually building settlements, where a Palestinian living, just down the road, say for example, 700 yards, 800 yards, half a mile away, where he gets water for 1 day, 1 hour a week, when the Israelis are living in occupied property and getting swimming pools, roads which only Jews can travel on. So it's complete discrimination. Buildings that only Jews can travel on. I was in Hebron and I tried to cross the road from the Prophet Abraham's mosque to the place where my tour guide, who's an American guy, was waiting, and I had a gun put to me and I wasn't allowed to cross it because I was a Muslim. Until I pointed out I was British, apparently it was okay. When I said I was British, I could cross. When I said I was Muslim, I wasn't allowed to. I didn't identify myself as a Muslim. I didn't identify myself at all. Just decided to put a gun to my head. So the last meeting that we had, it was a conference room and it was completely packed out. Right, completely packed out. Mehdi Hassan was on the stage, and they had Anan Ashrawi coming in over live over Skype. So from the days where there was 10 people in a room to a completely packed out conference room on those issues, which demonstrates that the feelings of the members of the Labour Party and the general public is one that they need to redress the imbalance and firmly implement a two-state solution. That's clearly coming through, and that's how the Labour Friends of Palestine is actually developing itself in the Middle East as well, so in the big issues.
As a politics and history student, I have to say, there's a lot of injustices I look throughout history with the massacres of imperialism and Holocaust and everything else. But sadly, this is a lucid situation which not just myself, but many people here have seen over history and are still seeing today. And I mean, I agree with you completely on the frustration there is. Coming to what something David Ward, the Bradford East MP today said, David Ward made it clear that, I agree that Hamas should not be throwing rockets, I agree that terrorism or for all sorts is wrong, but David Ward said if I was a Palestinian, maybe I'd throw a rocket as well. And this is why I suggest
supporting, and I think there's a ready-made template which we can follow.
Good point.
Yeah.
Human rights and humanitarian crisis. Part of the problem is, like I mentioned, we're not getting the full reports from Gaza or West Bank. Now, there's a letter being sent in the Lancet by doctors, well, not Palestinians, doctors who are working in the hospitals in Gaza and the West Bank, who are giving eyewitnesses of what's happening in Gaza. Now, they've denounced, the aggression by Israel. They say these indiscriminate attacks, hospitals have been attacked, destroyed, ambulances have been destroyed, homes have been destroyed, and because of this, there's a major crisis.
Let it happen, and then we got involved. The Holocaust, we let it happen, got involved from the Great War happened. The ethnic cleansing, let it happen, got the evidence, then went in. These three things are simultaneously happening in Gaza. Whether we like it, whether the Holocaust term is too tough, it's not. It's the exact same thing. This is how they initially started out. We've got the loud right-wing movements coming out, making noise. I mean, I was shocked. The Daily Mail is even now reporting something like a balanced report.
And there are reasons for that. Mainly because I don't feel any of the political parties, with regards to issues like this, are actually that sincere. And I'm not talking about the individual MP. For instance, yourself, David Ward. Very good man, David Ward. May not enjoy all his politics, but he is a very good man in that he stands up for what is right, works hard for the local people. And I'm sure that because you are relatively a new MP, are trying your very best to get into that situation. But as political parties, unfortunately, and I'm sure you get very, very frustrated, that even in your party, sometimes you have to toe the political line, because it has to be for the benefit of the party. To me, that's not a democracy. That's a veneer of democracy. And to me, this is unacceptable. There should be a readjustment with regards to how politics works and how MPs shouldn't go according to their conscience, but they should work according to the conscience of the community that voted them in. And there should be a structure with all the technology we have today to make sure that happens. So until then, I'm not too keen about joining a political party. However, compared to other parties, I believe Labour is at least trying. Now, going on to the subject, I was thinking about why, since 1967, the Israelis seem to reject the Fourth Geneva Convention de jure, as to why they say that even though all the political and legal...
I'd like to raise a point about Britain, not about the rest of the world, what can they do, how we can put pressure on, about Britain. The problem in this country is that the propaganda machine is withholding information from the masses. That's why you've got a turnout of 30 rather than 3,000. BBC is complicit in that. They're the main players of that. We will only change minds when Israel is not allowed to claim self-defense every 5 minutes after another 100 people have been killed. It's, the rockets that are going into Israel, they're like fireworks compared to what they're doing. Now, they've got a propaganda machine, they're very sophisticated, they know how to work the media, and they put their message across very effectively. What we don't have is the same level, of media coverage and support. And our big